What's up, violinists? Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about how to sound better on the violin. I just felt like playing that. That doesn't have anything to do with sounding better. I'm going to give you 5 ways. Some of them are pretty simple. Some of them are slightly trickier, but we're just going to talk about it all. So the first thing is about rosin. Now, I know this is super duper basic and you're like, dude, I know all about rosin. I know, I just need to talk about it anyways. So the first thing is make sure that you clean your violin after every single time that you play, because there's always rosin on your bow. It's always gonna get onto your violin. Even like my violin right now looks pretty clean, but you still wanna clean it. Usually your violin will come with some sort of cloth. And just clean your violin here, the top of the strings. It's very important to clean the top of the strings because rosin buildup can happen. And if there's too much rosin buildup on those strings, it's gonna be even harder to make it sound better later. The only thing you'll be able to do is either get it professionally cleaned or change your strings, which is super annoying. So just clean it off after every time. So as far as your bow, to make sure you have enough rosin or not too much rosin, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your fingernail and just kind of flick the bow hair. And if you look, woo, we had a whole big rosin cloud that just came off. That means I have plenty of rosin on my bow. I do not need any more. Now, if there is no rosin cloud that just came off when you did that, that's how you know you need more rosin. So go ahead and put some rosin on your bow, because if you have too much rosin on your bow, it can start to sound super scratchy. But if you don't have enough rosin on your bow will literally just glide across the strings and kind of just not make a very good sound. Like you won't be able to like grip the strings. So having too much rosin or too little rosin can both be actually an issue. Okay, point number 2, stand when you play. Too often I see people that practice sitting down and I'm kind of like, why are we sitting? There's absolutely no reason to be sitting. Unless you have to sit, you should be standing. Sitting can create so many terrible habits that are actually way harder to undo later. Make sure your music stand is kind of at eye height, so you're not leaning over to read the music stand. You're actually standing as you're playing and reading the music, and you're standing tall as you play. This is not only gonna make you sound better, it's also gonna prevent so many injuries that could be happening that you don't even realize. I see a lot of people that primarily play sitting down, and as soon as they stand up to play, which you're going to have to do, there's so many we're now used to playing like this and our violin's lower and it's in the wrong place and just a heap of issues. Just stand when you play. Trust me, you're gonna sound 1,000 times better. Okay, those were kind of my easy tips. Now we're gonna get into some things more like playing tips. If this video has helped you at all yet, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as part of our little violin community. If your bow is not moving straight across the strings, it's not gonna sound very good. A lot of what I see is that your arm isn't actually getting around your body as much as it needs to. Something I like to say is imagine you're holding a shield across your body and that's where your arm needs to sit. Another easy way to practice this, and this also shows you how your hand should move, is to turn your bow around and place it on your shoulder and just do a few bow movements. And if you look, it's coming directly from my elbow. And do you see how much my hand has to come across the body to get to my shoulder? That's exactly where your arm should be. So now if I put my violin up on my shoulder and do that, the same exact thing, the movement is coming from my elbow and not coming from my shoulder. If the movement is coming from your shoulder, you're going on a run. And that's gonna make your violin sound like that. Obviously I'm exaggerating, but that is what could be happening to you and why you're not sounding very good. So just double check this. In front of a mirror is the best way to practice this. Just double check that you're playing nice and straight on your bow. Another kind of simple thing that might be hurting your sound is you're struggling to play on one string at a time. Now, if you look, there's actually a lot of space you have to play on a singular string. I can kind of move my bow back and forth across that same exact string while playing one. Do you see how much I can move my arm? I'm just playing on one string. I'm only playing on the A. I didn't even hit the other strings yet. So it's kind of about figuring out where that balance is for your hand to play on one string. And what I would do is I would just try playing the A, and maybe you're just practicing down bows. So just playing the A on a down bow. And just practice that a few times. Like, where is that? Where that your bow is not gonna hit any other strings. And I'm not bothering playing any other notes or anything like that. Now try some up bows. Where is it? And kind of practice that for every single string. Your elbow kind of has to act like an elevator for each string. So E, your elevator, your elbow is down here. A, he comes up. D, G. So kind of making sure that your elbow is a little bit leading the way with which string you're playing. That's another good thing to do, is just to practice without playing anything, just silently bringing your hand across the strings to kind of figure out where your elbow needs to be for all of them. And the final thing that I think might be affecting your sound is where you're placing your bow on the play zone, which is right here in this area. So where you want to place your bow is right directly in the center. Do you see where the little holes end of the little decorations? They're exactly lined up in the middle, and that's where you want your bow to be, just above those. And this is something really easy to practice in the mirror. Place your bow over those and then try playing. That's like the sweet spot on the violin, right there in the middle above the little decoration ends. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section. I would love to answer them. I always try and go through my comments and answer any questions as best as I can.